All right, we are recording, and you may notice something new has been added. There are these little bars underneath each one of the characters' faceplates here. There's some gray ones under Fluttershy's, Rainbow Dash's, and Twilight Sparkle's face, but there's also double bars here. There's 2 bars for Twilight and Rainbow Dash, whereas Applejack, Rarity, and Fluttershy and Pinkie Pie only have 1 each. Of course, Pinkie Pie's is divided up into 3 different partitions. I'm not sure how well that shows up in this video, but they are in fact partitions, and I think I should show you what it looks like. When Twilight is flying around, her gray bar depletes, and it doesn't start replenishing unless she is on the ground. If I go to Rainbow Dash, her bar depletes as well, but she's an excellent flyer. Hers replenishes quickly and does not deplete as quickly. Fluttershy, hers also depletes, but goes back up once they're on the ground. And this is before you take into account things like how much energy or mana or MP or whatever you feel like calling it, different abilities take. Let me show you this one. I also increased the damage of abilities since they now cost things, but check this out. Even when Twilight doesn't have any MP left, she can still shoot these ice bolts. However, the ice bolts have really low damage when she does it this way. Well, relatively low. Another interesting thing that I have added to this game is the fact that certain abilities require certain items to be consumed. For example, Twilight's Shadow Bolt ability. If I press Control, nothing happens. Let's switch to the Sun Dawn Bolt here, but let me show you what she's got in her inventory first. This Dawn Bolt now requires a topaz to cast it. Now she's got 5 shards, 1 teardrop, and 1 brilliant topaz. If I fire the Dawn Bolt, you can see it. Her mana bar did not move 1 iota, but there were 5 shards before, and now there's only 4. If I cast another 2, it'll be down to 2 shards. If I cast 4, then it's going to deplete all of her topazes. And if I press Control again, whoa, maybe she's got more than I thought. I'm not seeing anything here. Alright, well, now she's got them all depleted, and she cannot fire any more Dawn Bolts. It's possible to set up abilities so that they cost items. Take Rarity, for example. She's got 2 different abilities. There's her Stun Ray, and there's a sort of a gemstone spread ability. The Stun Ray consumes energy over time, and once she runs out of energy, she can't use it anymore. By contrast, this Gem Shatter ability, it consumes these pink gems. She can cast it 4 times, and then she's through. 1, 2, oops. Well, it also costs energy. Gonna have to wait on this one. At this point, she should have only 1 left. Yep, all the other pink gems have been consumed. And at this point, all the pink gems should be gone. And they are. Now let's show you something that Pinkie Pie has done. I have added numerous fireball colors, and yes, that little cannon icon there means she has her party cannon. And as you can see, casting the party cannon depleted one of these bars. It's possible to set up these bars so that they have partitions to them. And as soon as a partition fills up, I mean, I set it up so that it consumes a full partition when you cast her party cannon. There are some new and much darker colors in here. And of course, I shouldn't leave Applejack out. Her ground wave ability consumes quite a bit of her red MP bar there. But once it is all the way full, it goes from these dark maroon crimson colors to kind of more of a fuchsia. Just like that. I should probably show you a few more things that are now in the game. For example, this flask item, it makes your MP replenish much faster than usual. Like at this point, it only cost half of a MP bar, or an partition I should say, for Rarity to, for Pinky to use her party cannon. This affects maximum MP as well as affecting MP regeneration. And yeah, I want to get the life of these characters back up, because it would be embarrassing to have to reload now. Oh, another thing about this, check out Fluttershy. Her MP bar is flickering because she replenishes MP so quickly, at least while she's under the influence of those flask items. She replenishes it so quickly that she doesn't technically lose any MP. Now this enemy here is new. I'm calling it Laser Ruby. It's firing a new type of projectile called Stretch Spark. Pretty much only the central orb, or bubble as the case may be, does any real damage or has any real hitbox to it. But it has these arms, these lines that stretch out and then retract back. I'm calling this Stretch Spark. And let's see here. Has about 30 MP hit points. Whoa! Wah! And Dawn Bolt is super effective against Night Onyx. Boom! 75 is enormous. Woo! Ow. Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay, this looks like a bug. She's not supposed to be able to do this. Oh well. I guess I can see what I can do about fixing that bug before this thing goes live. And the funny thing is, this is meant to be a tutorial video. Ah, well. Let's see, at this point in the game I have shown Pinkie Pie's cannon. I have shown some of the different ways that MP and items can be used as cost for different abilities. I've shown that it is possible to set things up so that an ability can be cast while you have 0 MP, even though it costs MP. And I have shown a bug where Twilight can fly even though she's not supposed to be able to, while her MP is already drained. I think that is enough, at least for the game editor. For the editor, that's another story. It's time to show how to set these things up. For starters, run, hamsters, run. Okay, here we go. there is a new tab up here, MP bars. I pretty much call them MP whenever I have it in-game. The funny thing is, if you dive into the code, you'll see that I keep calling it mana. But I digress. As you can see, there's air and arcane. If you click the edit button here, these are the parameters that you can give to any given mana bar here. You set the color when the mana bar is empty. When it's filling up, you have yet another color. As you can see, there's this teal color replacing midnight blue beneath Twilight's head here, and as soon as it maxes out, it switches to cyan here. Bing! Let's see. You set how much the game starts with in terms of their MP. You set their maximum MP, how many MP they regenerate each tick, how many milliseconds there are per tick. I have 250 milliseconds, which is a quarter of a second, so every second Twilight regenerates 4 MP. That takes a total of 25 seconds to restore 100. The length of the given MP bar in pixels is also one of the things you can have. Partitions. By default, there's only one partition, but if I bring up Pinky's, then you'll see that she has 3 different partitions there. You can set an element for the MP bar. These elements are going to be important later. They don't directly tie into what kinds of abilities you can use, but abilities can be told, hey, look for an MP bar with this element in order to incur the cost. You can also tell it only regenerate MP while the character is on the ground. And when I go to the air one, which is dark slate gray, gray, and silver for the 3 different colors there, it starts at 100 MP, total of 100 MP. Let's see, we got 100 millis per tick and 2 MP regenerated per tick. That means 20 MP gets regenerated in a second. The length in pixels is 30, 1 partition, MP bar element is air, and this one, unlike the arcane one, you only regenerate MP while on the ground. But now, if you want to set things up so that in order to fly, it costs MP, you click the Flight MP Cost button here. And there's 3 buttons at the bottom. MP bar element. If I set this to arcane, then it would have been Twilight's blue bar instead of her gray bar that was depleted. It costs 5 MP per tick, and there's 200 milliseconds per tick, which is a fifth of a second. That means each second costs 25 MP. You can click this No MP Requirement button in order to remove the requirement altogether. You can click OK to change it, or cancel to just cancel out of it and say I don't want to affect the MP after all. And let's just jump over to Pinky here. She can give me a couple of different things here. She doesn't fly, so let's just jump over to MP bars. This one has ochre for the depleted color, red for the filling color, yellow for the filled color. This time there's 3 partitions. There's 30 MP per partition, since the starting MP is 90 and the maximum is 90. She regenerates 2 MP per second, that is to say 1 every half second. It's 75 pixels long. I set it to fire because now I'm going to show you what an attack looks like that consumes MP. As you can see, there's just oodles and oodles of fireballs here. And some of them have new colors. For example, this one. Basically, I inverted the colors on the red one. The red one starts as a sort of a salmon, almost pinkish red, and degenerates to maroon as the frames go on. This one starts as a very dark maroon and fades to a lighter pink. I don't know why, but the bug bit me that made me want to add as many colors as possible. There's cyan here, which is a very, very light blue. Pink, which is much more pastel than the red one. Starts almost white, not unlike how yellow starts almost white. Yeah. Let's see. Then there is tan as another one. I wanted to add the ability to have more earth-ish colors, so I added tan. I wanted a blue that was a bit darker and edging a little bit into purple territory, so I added indigo as an option as well. And after that, I wanted something that was a little bit more flamey. So this one starts with a yellow that's not as pastel as the yellow that you get when you select the yellow fireball, and then it sort of fades into red as it goes. And if I'm going to do that, I'm going to have to do it with cool colors as well. This starts out with a much darker green than the green fireball does. The green fireball, for comparison, it's just that bright lime there. So that's a few darker colors, but then I decided, you know what, I can do even better. Black starts with a very, very dark grayscale fireball and fades into gray and silver and white. Brown, this is essentially the orange one with its colors reversed. Just like how maroon is red with its colors reversed, ochre is yellow with its colors reversed. Starts out very dark and has yellow fading behind it. Dark green, same story. It's inverted green. Dark blue, that is even darker than the indigo one, and it fades to much brighter colors of blue behind it. Dark purple is the last one that's new. And again, very, very dark, but it fades to almost lavender towards the later frames of this. So that's it for the fireballs. The other sub-attack that I've added is Stretch Spark. I should probably show that one off. Here we go. Let me just make it the full spectrum here. And I'll have her shoot it straight up. Oops, that's too fast. 13. Well, even that's a little too fast to see it. Let's go with 7. Now this one has hollow center. We can set it to be solid though. And it phases through all the colors of the rainbow here. The arms reach out and then stretch back inwards. You can change the length of the arms. Let me just double the length here. And yeah, those go stretch out even further. You can set the opacity of the arms. At this point, they're half transparent. You can also do arms should fade. The way these work is the arms stretch outwards and then stretch back once they've gone as far as they're going to go. If you say that they should fade, then instead of pulling back inwards, they get more and more transparent until they're basically gone. Those are the parameters for Stretch Spark. Pretty much all of these are just, they are just for show. They're just cosmetic. I'll cancel that one out. Now, the way that you set costs for different abilities is you create one or more spend strategies. A spend strategy has 0 to many requirements in it and 0 to many perks in it. The way this one works, it's very simple. It's a very simple spend strategy. It says, look for an MP bar that has the fire element, consume 30 of those. And there's a few different types of requirements here. MP is one of them. Another one is item in inventory. And you can say there has to be a custom item in the inventory or there has to be a standard item. You say which item it is. You say how many of them have to be in the inventory. And then this one is, do we consume those items on cast? So you can say you have to have a magic wand in your inventory, and it doesn't consume the magic wand to cast this spell. It just has to exist in your inventory. That's one thing. Another thing is that, say, it costs a red ruby to cast this spell. You have to have at least one, and it consumes the red ruby. And you can do the same thing with custom items. Let's see. You can consume umbrellas, raincoats, whatever if you feel like it, but I should probably show you the MP requirement wizard here. It's very simple. It's how much MP is required, which element, if any. You can insist on no element. You can just say, oh, whatever element you got, or you can pick any one of those elements. And technically you can set it up so that it just says you have to have this much MP in your bar in order to do this, but it doesn't actually consume it. That's another potential way that you can do these requirements. There are 3 other requirements that you can have. There's buffs as well. And essentially there's just 2 types. Sorry, there's 3 types here. You can either say you can only cast this spell while this buff is here, or you can say this buff will be consumed. I mean, yeah, you have to have it on you, but as soon as you use this ability, the buff is consumed. Another one is buff needs to be absent. If this buff is on you, you can't cast this spell. And pretty much every buff in the game is in this field here. Another one is health. If you want, you can have... Boy, this thing is bigger than it needs to be. Oh well. If you want, you can say that you have to have full health, or you have to have at least 3 health or something like that. You can also have it consume that health. These are options. You can set it up so that you have to spend health in order to cast an ability. Finally, there is item property equipped. Sometimes it requires equipment in order to cast something. The way this works is, and this can go either way. You can say, for example, that you can only cast this ability when you have a cannon. In fact, I should have had this one from the beginning. Theoretically, you can also say you cannot use this ability if you have a cannon. Forbidden means if you've got a cannon equipped, you can't cast this. Another required means if you have a cannon, you can cast it. If you don't, you can't. And, certain abilities like Twilight's and Rarity Stun Rays, those are continuous. When you hold down the control key, it just continuously fires. In those cases, and in those cases alone, this number is relevant. It means every 1,000 milliseconds, that is every second, we redo the requirements. We recheck the requirements. You can remove requirements as well. Perks, I need to go over that. Debuff added means if this spend strategy is the one that we end up using, then your attack is going to apply a debuff to whatever enemy it hits. And yes, there is a new MP burn debuff. I will be getting into that later. That's one option. Other perks are, this can give you a buff. Let's see, you can make the buff permanent. Buffs actually have a default duration attached to them. You can make it shorter or longer if you want to. You can just go with the default, or you can make it totally permanent as soon as you cast this ability. I'm not sure why you'd want to do that, but you can. Another perk is generate item. The item will simply appear in their inventory when you use this ability. I don't know, I guess you could use this to sacrifice some of your health to give yourself some ammo or something along those lines. It can be a custom item, or it can be a standard item. Standard items are, again, those little gems that exist in the game. Another perk that you can add is heal. If you cast this spell, then your character is going to be healed. This one isn't that much larger than it needs to be. Yeah, that one just says how much you get healed for. And this might be a little bit counterintuitive, but there is a rhyme and reason. My North Star in coming up with this whole cost and perk system was I wanted the MP bars to be able to simulate most of what World of Warcraft has for their resource mechanics. And one of the things that you can do in World of Warcraft is a rogue has essentially two resources. They have an energy bar which refills very quickly, and they have something called combo points, which you only get as you spend energy on different abilities. Like rogues have a Sinister Strike ability that costs some energy, but you get a combo point for casting it. And if you get 5 combo points, then you can use a finisher. For example, Eviscerate is a finisher that consumes all the combo points that you have to deal damage. And it deals more damage the more combo points you have. The way Create MP works is, obviously you have to pick a mana bar element, and it can grant however much MP you want. Probably the way I would do this is I would have combo points have one element, and I would have the energy bar have a different element. Let's say electricity for the energy bar and fire for combo points. And Eviscerate would cost any number of fire combo points or fire MP to cast. And Sinister Strike would cost electric MP, and it would provide 1 fire MP. By having different elements, you can differentiate between the different MP bars, and you can simulate World of Warcraft's system of builders and spenders and all of that stuff. That's why a perk that actually grants MP when you cast a spell actually does make more sense than you'd think and is an option. Another one is Apply Multiplier. Maybe if you consume enough MP, then you can multiply the damage of the attack. That's what the multiplier is all about. And finally, we have Prolong Buff. If a buff is already on you, then casting a spell with the right spend strategy can prolong that buff if you want to. You can select which buff it is, and you can select how much time it adds. Here it would add 5 seconds to Big Hearted. Now, here's the thing. You can have multiple spend strategies. Let's just add another one here that it's got item in inventory. Let's say that it takes 5 rubies and it consumes them, and that's it. But if you do it this way, then you get healed for 1. And yes, I do have unique icons for each one of these perks. Let me just say that this one stuns enemies. This little green square, which has like a Z on it, a skull, and I believe that's supposed to be an X over a mouth. So silence, that's debuff added. Heck, let me do more of these. Grant buff. Gives you 10 seconds of Big Hearted. A star, arrow, character. Let me just remove that one so that we've got more space. Already got heal, create MP. Let's say that it just generates 10 fire MP. And it's a red MP bar. Oh, and look, this one's got partitions. Oops, I got the wrong one there. Let's see. Oh wait, I already did create MP. Okay, what else? Oh, Apply Multiplier. Okay, a big white X on a sort of a tan background, and I think these are supposed to be elements. I think this one's supposed to be nature, this one's supposed to be ice, earth, and holy. So you get a 1.25 multiplier, prolong buff. Yeah, that's purple, and clock underneath the cyan star plus character. So that's what those different... Let me remove the prolong buff one and re-add the debuff one. Stunned. Alright, so let's just do this and add a second spend strategy to this. If you add enough of them, you'll get a scroll bar over here, but that's sort of beside the point. What'll happen here is the first step that's going to happen is the game, when you tap the control button and the game tries to decide whether Pinkie Pie has the requirements for this particular attack, it checks to see whether she's got a cannon equipped. It checks to see if she has enough MP. If it does, if she does have enough MP and she does have the cannon equipped, then it's going to use this spend strategy, and whatever perks are attached to it will kick in. By contrast, if she doesn't have a cannon or if she doesn't have enough MP, then the game goes to this second one here. Does she have enough rubies in her inventory? If she does, then her attack will stun the enemy, and her attack will be, let's see, 1/4 stronger than it usually is. Now, when you get down to it, this is probably the one that should be checked first. You can reorder these. You can move them up, move them down, and now this is going to be the first one that the game checks when you tap the control button. First, it's going to ask the question, does she have enough rubies in her inventory? If the answer is yes, then you'll get the debuff stunning the enemies and you'll get the multiplier. Otherwise, it checks to see if she's got a cannon equipped and enough MP, and if she does, then it'll use this strategy and consume some MP. Obviously, I don't want this one in place. This is the only one that I want, so I will remove the multiplier debuff one there. Click OK. Basically, that's the way that you can get MP bars to actually get consumed when you use abilities. There is a little bit more to be said about this, though. Buffs and debuffs can affect your MP bars. Let me show you some playable character buffs that now affect the MP bars. Okay, way back down at the bottom, let's see, I added this one, MP Boost. This is that purple flask item from before. The buffs icon is this flickering flask here, increases maximum MP and MP generation. These are the buff effects down here. It affects all characters, MP regeneration, milliseconds per MP. Pretty much this determines, pretty much you get 1 MP every time it ticks, and it'll decide what elements to provide this to. And then there's also maximum MP boost. Again, this will affect whatever elements you tell it to. It can be any element, no element, or any one of those elements inside there. So those are 2 new buff effects. Yeah, debuff immunity was the last one. Now I've added MP regeneration and maximum MP boost. And we've got the overlay graphics here. The flask appears, it travels downwards, and then it disappears. You know, everything else seems to go to the side in one way or another. The horseshoes for the speed buff went this way and that way. the jump booster had one arrow going up here, one arrow going up here. This leaves this center lane open, and that's why I have the flask generally going downwards. So that's that for buffs. Debuffs can also affect MP. I had a set of rather standard debuffs for a while. Afraid, Frozen, Confusion, Silence, Burn, Stunned, Entangled, and Wet. This one is new, MP Burn. So I added a debuff effect. It's a flame over top of a depleting MP bar. It can only affect players. This new debuff effect only affects players. I've set it up so that all elements are affected. This will only, in the end, an MP burn will only affect the first MP bar that it actually matches. And let's see. Shows you how many MP are burned per tick. Milliseconds per tick. That is 3 1/3 seconds there. The element of damage dealt is down here. Now, why the heck did I have all elements as an option here? This should not be an option. That doesn't make any sense. Alright, well, I'll fix that later. Let me just make a note of this. 2 bugs found. I don't even remember what the first one was. MP burning debuff effect has all elements as a selectable elemental damage type when the character takes damage. Oh, now I remember what the other one was. Twilight could fly even when her MP bar was depleted. This is not right. Alright. In any case, this is also the ratio of damage per MP. Every 3 1/3 seconds, this tries to burn 20 MP, and it will deal 5%. It will multiply the amount of MP burned by this little decimal, and that's how much damage it'll deal. 20 times 0.05 is 1, so basically the character will take 1 damage every 3 1/3 seconds. The animation is basically just a flame, blue flame, appearing under the character. So burning the MP is simply another one of the debuff effects you can have. Special effects of specific element disabled. And then way at the bottom here, actually there's a few different ones. MP regeneration suppressed. Basically that means you're not going to replenish MP during this. Drained over time. This is the same thing as burned, except that it doesn't actually do damage to your hit points. There's reduced maximum MP, and what we see here is MP burned over time. So these are the new debuff effects that pertain to MP bars. And I gotta say, this was a lot of scope bloat. My last release was in summer of 2024, and now it's the start of spring 2025, and I haven't done any releases since then. I'd like to do smaller releases, but the fact of the matter is, if I had just added MP bars without doing the ability to make things cost MP and buffs and debuffs that can affect MP, it just would not have been the same. I suppose I could have staggered those out in smaller releases, but it feels like doing things all in one big bloop, one big ball of wax, that it feels like that makes a little bit more sense. In any case, I think I've covered everything for this. Well, you know what? One last thing that I want to show. Well, of course, I have to show it in 2 parts. Now that Pinkie Pie has this party cannon, I should probably show you how I did it. First of all, this uses the rear stomp cast animation. And if you go into frame-by-frame details, we are not going to see Pinkie's party cannon with this one. Her party cannon is equipment. But when her hooves connect to the ground, that is the frame where all the fireballs are. If you try to remove other sub-attacks to this frame, it's just going to say there's no more sub-attacks you can add to it. I set things up so that her party cannon sort of appears behind her. And I know I don't like that flickering, but I never figured out what I can do about it. It appears behind her. When she is at her apex rearing, the party cannon sort of juts upward like this. As she is stomping down, the party cannon just sort of meow. And then, at this frame, the party cannon shoots and sort of shrinks backwards. As her legs go inwards, the party cannon just disappears behind her. Technically, I animated it to disappear behind her hind legs. Let's see. Let me show you her equipment here. I think that is under, yes, it is under character stats, equipment. She now has a new equipment slot, and it is the party cannon. And, you know, the way I did items in this game, items essentially apply buffs either when you consume them or equip them, and that's how items have their efficacy. So instead of finding the item and editing the item, I need to edit the buffs. If I scroll all the way down, you'll see that the party cannon graphic is one of the buffs. This is where all the animation for the party cannon is. And as you can see, I just have a single black tile with black as the background color for all of these animations except for rear stomp cast. And you know, you have to actually click set depth preview to actually see the party cannon as it would be in practice. For this, it's being drawn above the character. As you can see, the first frame, it's tiny. Second frame, a little bigger, a little bigger, a little bigger. It's at its full size now. And now they're in the middle of stomping. So the party cannon pivots downwards as they stomp. Frame 7, it has almost hit the ground. It's now aiming directly forwards. Frame 8, it starts to disappear into the character's hind legs. And as we continue, the party cannon travels this way to the left and disappears into the character's leg. So let's just do a preview here. It's a little bit subtle, but I think it works. If we go to set, just cancel out of it, go to the depths and preview one, add buff. Come on. Party cannon graphic, okay. Animation, rear stomp cast left. Pinkie Pie. This is what it looks like. Now obviously there's going to be so many fireballs shooting all over the place that it's hard to see her cannon, but there it is, right there. -44, that is the draw depth. It's getting pretty late at night. In fact, it's after midnight as of the time I'm recording this. I've been recording for way too long. I think I have all the informational content right here, so this is a good place to tie it off.